The HMRC last week issued a list of 9 small business owners who had deliberately tried to evade paying taxes of more than £25,000. Their names were plastered over the newspapers in the hope that it would deter others trying to do the same thing. And coming up a wee bit later, I want to know if you are happy with that approach. Tom from Crieff phoned in early. Not at all. He says there's too many other people out there who are falling foul of tax laws. And so he doesn't really see why there should be any great focus on the people further down the chain. But let's speak to Jonathan Davis, economist and wealth manager. Good morning, Jonathan.
Hello, Kaye.
Good morning. Do you think this is a smart move on the taxman's part?
Well, that question it's all relative. I mean, you can't say it's a bad move, but it's certainly not an optimal use of the tax authorities' time and efforts, because what, as you just read out, the chap just said there, they're going after the little guy. Why aren't they going after the big guys who never mind evading £25,000? They're evading, say, 250 million or 2.5 billion pounds of taxes. The international companies that we've been hearing of in the last few months.
But they're avoiding, Jonathan. There's a difference, and I've been warned to make the difference very plain. There's a difference between avoiding and still acting within the law, and evading, which is acting outside the law. And there's no question that these 9 people who have been named and shamed were acting outside the law.
Absolutely, and I have indeed just said that they should be reporting. They should be perhaps telling people that these small business people have not been paying their due taxes. And the point I'm simply making is there are other companies who are clearly using the tax loopholes to avoid paying taxes. And you're absolutely correct. They have broken no laws. Why not? Because they know how to get round the system.
I suppose, what the HMRC have said here is their thinking on this is to send out a warning shot across the bows of anyone else who might be thinking of doing something similar. That if you dare to try and evade your tax, then you are going to be named and shamed. And I think it's an interesting move in that, other people offend or, criminal behaviour. They're not necessarily named and shamed. That they're subject to the due process of law, but they don't necessarily expect to see themselves appear on some sort of shameful list.
If you're criminal, whether it's an act of violence, for example, or indeed in this case a financial crime, then you should be brought to book, and that means that you should be named in the public arena so people know who you are and can, in this case, for example, stop doing business with you. There's no question about that. My point is, and I want to restate this, is that it appears to me that the tax authorities are not using the optimal efforts to crack down on their own loopholes, which they and the Treasury and successive governments have created. If instead they did that, with the 80-20 rule, 80%, for example, of your taxes come from 20% of your taxpayers, they would be able to focus their time more effectively, closing down loopholes. They can do that in the back room rather than have armies of investigators and do it in the background, change the tax laws, and you know what? We would get far more taxes in from profitable international companies, and that would help us a great deal more than catching a few hundred, perhaps, small business people.
OK, Jonathan, listen, thank you. We'll see if people agree with you on this one. 0500 92 95 00. Let me know what you think. Sandra says, of course these people should be named and shamed. I've paid tax all my days. I haven't been on holiday for about 18 years as my kids came first. Why should I pay for these people to run fancy cars and be able to go on holiday? It makes me very angry. Does it make you angry? 0500 92 95 00.